Hey guys, it's Jen. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another meal prep video. This week is just a quick prep. I'm only making 4 things. I'm going to make some homemade turkey stock, some roast pork, some pasta salad, and then at the end, Adam is going to help me cook his barbecue sauce recipe so we can have that in the fridge for meals during the next month or so. So the first thing that I'm getting started on is some turkey stock. We had Friendsgiving the day before this, and I asked our friends if I could take the turkey carcass home so I could make stock out of it. So I like to make mine in the Instant Pot. You can also do this with a chicken carcass, but you'll just basically place the turkey or the chicken in the Instant Pot. I have an 8-quart, so it's really great for this since it's so big. You can add your veggies. I keep a freezer bag full of veggie scraps in my freezer just for this purpose. So I added some red pepper, some carrots, some onion, and some celery. And then you just want to season it well with salt and pepper. Sometimes I throw a bay leaf in there or some garlic, and then pour cold water over all of the meat and the veggies until most of it is covered. You want to make sure that you keep an eye on the max full level of the inside of your pot. Don't overfill it. And then you will cook this on high pressure for 60 minutes. Since the pot is so full, it will take a while to come to temperature, just so you're aware of that. But once it's done, you can strain out all of the bones and the veggie scraps, and you're left with this delicious stock. Now, obviously, I don't use this typically all at once, so I like to freeze it for later use. I just pour it into mason jars, or I also save like fruit jars and any kind of like spaghetti sauce jar. I like to wait until it's cool, and then I ladle it using a glass measuring cup into those glass jars, and then I put them directly in the freezer. Yes, you can freeze them. You just want to make sure that you're leaving about an inch of space up at the top so that when the liquid expands, that the jar doesn't crack. So I will just fill these up and then get them in the freezer, and they stay good for up to 6 months. I always use them well before that, though. You can just leave them out on the counter to defrost. They're perfect for any recipe that you need to make. With chicken broth or turkey broth, I use them interchangeably. So like last week, I made chicken and dumplings using some of this turkey broth, and it was really delicious. It's definitely heartier and better tasting than anything that you'll find in the store, and it's a great frugal way to use up your food scraps. So the next thing that I'm going to prep is some pasta salad. I love this suddenly salad, just the classic kind, and I've been making this for years. I just like to doctor it up a little bit to make it a little bit more special. I'm making 2 boxes of this. On this particular day, my parents were going to come over for lunch, and so I knew that we would be eating part of it then, but the reason why I made extra is so we could have it in the refrigerator to have as a side for dinner and lunches during the work week. So once your pasta is done cooking, you will just rinse it in the sink in cold water. Since this is a cold pasta salad, you just want to make sure that you stop the cooking of the pasta by rinsing it really, really well with cold water until it is cool to the touch. So I'm going to leave the pasta to cool the rest of the way while I get started on the dressing. These pasta salads come with a dressing packet that you simply just mix with a little bit of cold water, and you can use olive oil or avocado oil, which I'm using. And I like to add just a little bit of extra water, a little bit more than the package calls for. This way there's a little bit more dressing and the pasta salad won't get dry while it sits in the refrigerator. We did, like I said, have this for lunch that day, and then we also were able to have it during the week. Adam took it a couple days with a sandwich for lunch, and I took some to work as well. So how I like to doctor this up is I like to add sliced black olives to mine. You could add green olives if you like those instead. Another great thing to add to it is chopped up red peppers or cucumber. Although cucumber, while it tastes really good in the salad, it does get soggy faster. The olives stand up really well to the dressing in the salad. So I'm going to use about half a can of those and just slice them right into the bowl. Next, I like to add some cubed cheddar cheese to this salad. You could also add feta if that's something that you like. Not everyone in my family likes it, so I didn't add that this time. But basically, I just have some sharp cheddar cheese here. This is one of the larger blocks from Costco, and I am just cubing it up and putting that right in the salad. This makes it taste really good. And I also like to add some protein as well. So if you wanted to make this more of like a main dish, you could add some chopped grilled chicken. What I'm doing today is just using what's left of the turkey pepperoni in the fridge, and then I'm also going to cut up some hard salami and put that in there as well. While this isn't totally homemade, obviously I'm using a box. I am sort of doctoring it up a little bit to make it my own, and this is always the pasta salad that I make if I'm going to like a get together or a party or a gathering, just because once you add all of that extra stuff, it turns out really good and no one will even know that it's not totally homemade. Okay, so I will just cover this with plastic wrap and get that in the fridge for later. And next I'm going to work on some roasted pork loin. This is something that I have definitely meal prepped before and will continue to do every so often, just because it's such a great way to cook a lot of protein in advance, and it really helps out during the week. Now, again, like I said, my parents were coming over for lunch, and so we were going to eat part of this on this particular day, but that's just a good tip in general. Anytime that you're cooking something, you might as well cook a little bit more of it and have more that you can have for lunches and dinners during the work week. So I had 2 of these Hormel boneless pork loins. One was already seasoned with garlic and herb, and the other one we're just using some of the Famous Dave's rib rub to rub that with. And then I also drizzled a little bit of avocado oil on the top of those as well. Now my oven has a roast setting, which is, it's a convection oven, and it actually has a roasting setting. So I put these in there at 400 degrees for about 45 minutes, and they were cooked perfectly. You'll have to play around with your oven. If you don't have a convection oven, you might want to turn the heat up a little bit higher. But when these are done, I just go ahead and let them rest covered with foil until they are cool enough to slice, and they always turn out really good. So here's just a look at what we had that day. You can see here the pork loin I sliced up, and we had that for lunch. It was really good with some of Adam's homemade barbecue sauce, and then we had enough left over for the week as well. Okay, so the next thing that, the next thing that I'm going to meal prep, which this isn't really a meal prep, but I'm showing it in a meal prep because it's something that you can do ahead of time. But Adam makes this really good barbecue sauce, and he's going to share the recipe, even though it's patent pending. I'm just kidding. It's not really.
So 2 cups of tomato sauce.
So is this doubling the recipe, or is this?
No, this is one batch.
Okay, so this is one batch of barbecue sauce. And I think last time we made it, it made like, what, 8 jars? 6 jars or something?
I don't count.
Okay, so first you mix all of the liquid ingredients. So there's 2 cups of tomato sauce, like just plain canned tomato sauce. He's going to send me the recipe, so I'll type it in the description box. But this barbecue sauce is super delicious.
So then 2 cups of Heinz ketchup.
2 cups of Heinz ketchup. You must use Heinz.
I say Heinz because all other ketchup is garbage. And if you think otherwise, your opinion's garbage.
Amen. And like, we don't can this, like you could put it in a water bath and can it, but we just put it in mason jars and put it in the fridge, and it keeps just fine. So how much brown sugar?
1 1/4 cups.
Okay, 1 1/4 cups brown sugar. Oh, that's just enough. Okay, so 3/4 of a cup of red wine vinegar.
I'm going to do 3/4 cup of apple cider vinegar.
Do you normally use white vinegar?
I can't say.
I thought you didn't. I thought you used white vinegar last time.
No.
Oh, okay. 3/4 of a cup of apple cider vinegar.
Yep.
How long do you have to cook this once you're done mixing everything? Uh-oh. You spilled the butter. Please hold. Okay, so next butter. Two tablespoons of butter. Half a cup of molasses. Molasses is surprisingly hard to find in the grocery store if you look for it.
Around here it is.
What?
Around here it is.
Yeah. I think it's in like, I always thought it would be like by the sugar because that makes sense to me, but it's actually by the pancake syrup, I think. It probably depends on what grocery store you're in, but.
That's what I mean when I tell Kara she slows molasses.
She should be here to witness it right now. Oh, liquid smoke. Well, they're all dirty because I was making a gingerbread house. You could use a spoon rest. Well, just so the spoon doesn't fall into the pot. Okay, 4 teaspoons of liquid smoke.
Yep.
This you can get at Walmart. I know because that's where I got it. I can't remember where it's at though. I feel like it's by like the vinegar and stuff.
I like using the hickory liquid smoke. It's better.
Is that what that is?
No, this is just regular.
Oh.
Like plain. The hickory just gives it a little.
Oh, I didn't know there were different kinds.
A little more. Just a little more. Alright.
So is what you have left the spices?
Yep. So now I'm
okay, we're going to measure those out into a bowl and then I'll tell you.
Yep.
Okay, so we have all the spices mixed up in a bowl. So in there's black pepper, paprika, chili powder, garlic powder, onion powder, cinnamon, salt, celery seed, and cayenne. So you're going to put that in, and that's it, right?
Yep.
And then how long does this have to simmer?
At least 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
And then longer if you want it thicker.
Yeah.
Or if you want to thin it out, you just add water to whatever.
So probably you want to just turn it down super low so it's like barely,
barely
bubbling so it doesn't burn.
Yep, a lot of sugar in there. So.
Okay. So we're just going to let this simmer and then do we have to let it cool a little bit before we put it in jars? A little, maybe? I don't know.
I mean, just from a handling, you don't want to burn yourself. And
okay.
You don't want to put them in cold jars.
All right.
So.
Okay, so we're going to let this simmer and then we'll show you when we jar it up. All right, so the barbecue sauce is cool enough. Don't fill it so full.
Do what I want.
This is a wide mouth funnel. I got this on Amazon. I can link it below if you are interested, but it's useful for many things, including this. So we're just using regular ball jars, and then we'll put the lid on them, and since they're warm, when you put them in the fridge, it'll suck down the seal. So you only made 3 jars.
Yep.
Gotta get it all out. Okay, so that's how you make homemade barbecue sauce.
Okay guys, that's it for this week's shorter meal prep. I really hope that you'll try this barbecue sauce. It is seriously delicious, and everyone needs to give Adam a round of applause for agreeing to film this with me. I know he didn't speak up in parts of the video, but we'll definitely work on that for next time. I think he did a great job for his first one. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.